Hey guys, want to invite you and welcome you to the Angry Advocate podcast, episode 13. Super happy to be here. It's crazy that it's episode 13. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit right now, but episode
That's so
13
fast.
of yeah, it is of the Angry Advocate podcast. Again, my name is Ed. I am the guitar player in Death's Hand and the owner of Advocate Media.
And hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Ash. I am the owner of Angry Ginger Photography. I am so excited to have Camden Connor on the show today. He is in more projects than anyone I know, and it's going to be a great time.
What's up, man?
Hello.
Welcome.
I feel welcomed.
I hope so. I surely hope so. Yeah, awesome to have you on, man. Really cool. It's blowing my mind for us. I know Ash is in the same mindset. It's just like how we're just rolling, like, and it's just really cool to just talk to a bunch of really awesome individuals and people in bands that I know I look up to, and she likes to either photograph or be around and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to have another person on the podcast that we get to talk to and just learn some fun information from. So
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for the invite.
yeah,
I feel like this was kind of indirectly started because Jim Jam said I was in someone else's interview, but I was just in the thumbnail.
yeah.
It was for Christie's. I was like, oh, it's not me, but I'll go on.
Yeah.
There's certain people that once I have the mindset of the podcast and that person, I'm like, how haven't I asked them to be on the show and everything yet? So it was it perfectly just lined it up anyways.
It's too many people to think of. I get it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it gets intense for sure. It's like we're trying to interview as many people as we can in the New England area and a couple outside, but it's just like there's so many people that it's like, and Ash is the one who's in charge of going through and booking everything for which week who we're doing what or whatever. But it's definitely cool. I think we've been on a roll really the whole time, just getting really cool people, really interesting people, and it's been a blast for sure. So really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We love it.
Absolutely.
So I can get started with the questions. First one is, how long have you been playing instruments, and what is your favorite instrument to play?
I know biased it is kind of well, I shouldn't say guitar because sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I want to play bass or drums or something better. But I don't know, guitar is kind of the main one. I've been playing that since I was 11 years old. I think it was 11. That's 15 years ago. But that wasn't my first instrument. I played a teeny bit of piano in grade school, but that did not stick well until much later in life. I played the saxophone from 4th grade to 12th grade in the marching and concert band, but I stopped after high school because that was a school-owned instrument, and I have not played since. And I kind of miss it.
Yeah.
I think
but
often.
it happens. But
Yeah.
Piano, guitar, saxophone, drums, and bass. Bass just kind of came with the guitar knowledge. Just I forget what point along the way, but I just kind of slowly picked up I'm just playing guitar first, then going to bass. It's like, oh, I'm just playing like an actual regular electric guitar. But it wasn't until I feel like later in high school and college where it's like, oh, I'm playing different techniques and playing what actual bass players would play instead of just playing the same thing as a guitar. And then drums was kind of like a random self-taught thing. I think it's a miracle that I play drums in one band, which is JudgeXJudy, because I feel like half the time I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I sweat so easily playing. Well, it's on me for choosing to play drums in a band that has a lot of blast beats and just quick changes. So that's on me, but you can blame Diabolical Paul for that one. Shout out
Absolutely.
Paul.
Yeah.
So everything I do on that has just kind of been such a learning experience. And it's cool having our we have our DJ guy in the band. He's like a DJ sampler. guy, and he you know, when he's not doing that, he dances on stage, kind of like how Mighty Mighty Boss Tones have a guy for that, or something. But he's more of a drummer than I am, and we actually went to the same school where I was 2 grades ahead of him, but he went in for drums, and like he could drum really well, like he could do gravity blasts and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like he'll teach me a thing once in the blue moon. But that's Sam. Shout out Sam. In fact, I'm seeing the Judge Judy guys this weekend because we're playing in Maine. So
nice.
Yeah, the drum thing is beyond me sometimes. So I like just bought my own snare for the first time like a year or so ago, and all that. I just use other people's equipment. So now I have like don't have a full kit, but I have like the breakable stuff.
Yeah.
That's
what you need.
Yeah. And so like on top of the instrument stuff, like with how many you play, like do you feel like now playing like drums, guitar, and bass, that like all of that influences like kind of how you write riffs and stuff like that? Like, because I know as a drummer, for me, like the way I write guitar compared to like my other guitar player in Death's Hand, Kyle can't think of drums and guitar at the same time when he's writing. Like, but when I write, like I instantly have a drum beat in my head when I'm playing guitar. Do you know what I mean? So like, and it highly affects like the percussive parts that I play with my right hand on guitar when I'm thinking about drums at the same time. So like, does that affect kind of how you either play drums or play guitar? Like, do you find that might like have a correlation like rhythmically?
It definitely does, especially when I'm like thinking of my own demos or recording my own demos on my own spare time. I know playing drums in Judge Judy, I barely come up with the riffs in that band. So I know that's definitely a little different.
Yeah.
But almost sure. Like it's still just as interesting. It's just like, oh, they're playing this. All right, do you want, I don't know, Blast on the Ride? Do you want this kind of beat or something like that? Obviously, when it's like me on my own spare time, guitarist and drummer trying to think of stuff, I'm like I'm a lot more specific about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, if I bring up the demo to the guys and if they think of something different, it's like, oh, didn't think of it like that. But that's dope.
Right.
That's vaguely the best that I could explain it, but it does kind of affect how I write stuff in my spare time.
Yeah, because like when I do certain palm mutes, or there's times where I'll do like either pick scrapes or palm mutes or some kind of like rhythmic noise on the guitar that like I write the riff and then I'm like, oh man, that's like kind of what I would think like either a snare part would be, or you know what I mean? So like I literally write rhythmic parts in like on accident, you know what I mean? And so like,
yeah,
I don't know, it's weird. It's just I and whenever I show those parts, especially to my other guitar player Kyle, he's like how do you think of that? Like how do you, and I'm just like, I'm a drummer, like I don't know, it just you know what I mean? Like I'm always thinking about like rhythmic parts. So like it just for me, a lot of the drum stuff, like not that I write guitar and drums for Death's Hand, I don't. Kelly writes all the drum stuff. Like I don't tell him what to play. Like we just bring riffs and he just writes what he writes. But I know like for a fact that like my right hand does rhythmic stuff like specifically because I'm thinking of like everything else. I don't know. It just ends up being weird. But
I kind of feel that sometimes when I don't have time to really just make a new project in Reaper just to like set up everything. Because setting up drums, you know, obviously takes a while longer than a guitar track and stuff like that. If I don't have enough time, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to record a voice memo of a riff, send it to the guys or put it in a, you know, like Google Drive folder. And I'm just kind of showing them, it's like, oh, this is the part where the drums do this and then do this. And they're like, oh, okay. You know, and I'm just in my head, like, I'm like the Charlie Day meme and It's Always Sunny with the chart. And I'm just like, this is how it goes, you know, kind of thing. I promise it's going to work. Trust me. And then after a while, it's like, okay, now I'm actually putting in MIDI drums in this. And I'm like,
right.
There's all these thoughts go in my head about it, but it's like, well, sometimes in the voice memos, I'll add, maybe I'll hum out a part when the guitar is not playing, or like, maybe I'll tap on my desk, like, you know, kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm kind of same way. It's not like obviously at the end of the day, I think no matter what band I'm in, drummer more or less gets final say in what the drum parts are, and that's very valid. You want everyone's input, especially for a part that you're not playing live. They gotta contribute a little bit too. I know like Nick in UBA, he comes up with his own like groovy flair and everything. Same with Snook and Wisdom and War, and he hits hard too. I'm gonna put you on blast. He's not really into like when me or Jake submit demos and we have like MIDI drum set, and it's like, which I guess another explanation is like, no, we're not really the guitar, bass, MIDI drum demo band all the time. It's like, hey, sometimes they just want to jam it out, and it's like, I feel that I guess it's just easy for me because I don't have a kit here to really do that stuff on. And plus Snook's drums, Nick's drums, they sound better than the MIDI drums, as real as I can make them.
Usually we'll just send like regular, just like I'll just send like guitar tracks to a click track, send it to Kelly, and Kelly will either like live record his drum set or he'll just add MIDI drums if he doesn't have time to record it and like mix it and stuff like that. But we pretty much do that. Usually it's just like we'll record all the guitar parts and then add drums, whether it's MIDI or live. And so it's just a rough recording, you know what I mean? We all get to listen to it. And then when we get into the studio, like the drums definitely change then when we're in the studio too. Like, especially with who we record with, Evan, from Last Chance to Reason. So we record with him and he's an amazing drummer. So when we run through that, he has like incredible ideas, especially like when it comes to drum wise and breaking stuff down. So it's like, having him as a producer for us and when we do stuff is great, because like we have like this demo where we're like, this is what we think sounds good. And he's like, what if you just like added this on the double kick? Or what if you like, slowed this down half time instead of doing this? And like those little changes, like once we record them, it's like, oh, okay. Like,
I love producers like that are more than just like click record. Good. All right. Moving on with like, no suggestion or anything like that.
No, he's great with that. But like the one thing he's really good at doing is like, he puts just enough of an idea in there to not like take away from what our original idea is, right? And it's like, or if he just goes like, hey, like this part sounds this way, what if we just like flip-flop these two parts and like just shorten this a little bit just to see like how this sounds? And we'll do that. We'll record it, we'll flip it, and it's just like, oh my god, that sounds so much better with this 2-bar phrase before this, or throwing it after this or whatever. And so it's really cool to just kind of, I don't know, have someone who, like I said, can hear, because we're so used to hearing it a certain way. And for him, like, especially hearing it just like fresh and being able to go like, oh, let's just change these couple things. And it's, I've yet to be like, no, that sounds awful. You know what I mean? It's just like, that makes way more sense. Like, because sometimes when you write, you just get stuck in your own ways and you don't think about things. And it's like, it just takes one person to go like, what if you just move this to here? And it's like, oh my god, that makes like a world of difference. So it's really cool to just have that. But yeah,
I think the biggest producer, or not biggest producer, but like producer that I've been around the most that's been like that to me or any of my bandmates is Charlie and Ben from Tower Farm. Shout out Tower Farm. My other guitarist in Wisdom lives with him, and he's been like that to most. And I'm just like, you know what? This sounds really dope. I did not think of that. Where like, I think one thing I was recording with him, we did 6 rhythm guitar tracks, like stacked. But like, there was like 2, but they were not all different, but they were like, there were some like very different tones that I would never think of ever using for the band. And I'm just like, oh, that sounds gnarly. Or just kind of like, he did the same thing. It's like, what if you did this part? That transition was kind of weird, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, damn, you're a freaking genius.
Yeah.
And he lives 15 minutes away from me, so convenient.
Yeah, super convenient. And those are the best, is like the people who like give you just enough to like, I don't know, and like
They also challenge you and help you grow as a musician in the process.
Exactly.
And I love that shit.
And
I think every producer that I've worked with has basically been like that. Even most recently, UBA last month recorded with Jacob Tubman for EP that will come out sometime next year. Won't give any more details to that, but Jacob Tubman's kind of like that too.
Yeah, and it's just super nice to work with someone like he's never negative. He never like puts us down for what we do. You know what I mean? Like it's always just like he's just so easy to work with. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you do something wrong, it's just like, hey, let's try that again. Hey, let's try that again. You know what I mean? Like never like puts you down if you like, just aren't in it. Because sometimes like when I try to record, I'm not in it, right? Like I'm just like, I'm not in the zone. And then sometimes it'd be like, you guys want to go get a pizza? It's like, yeah, like we go get a pizza, we eat, we like drink, we come back, and it's like, okay, cool, now I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like just take those breaks. But yeah.
Where is that studio?
So that's up in Belgrade, Maine. It's Keonashi records with him.
Oh, Belgrade, Maine. I think most places in Maine feel wicked random. Just
that's like I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes from me, and I'm like an hour north of Portland. So like, I mean, it's up near like I think past the Augusta area and stuff like that. So it's right outside of Augusta.
Is it up in Bangor?
It's before Bangor. So you like Bangor's even further. So
yeah, I'm playing in the Bangor area this Saturday. So I'm like,
cool.
Doing that drive.
That's gonna be a drive.
Luckily, I don't have to drive this time.
That's good.
Which is a first.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Damn, up there.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind for any random musical venture of sorts. I'm like, oh, well, we could go to this guy up here and over here.
And he's great. Like I haven't really recorded with anybody else, so I can't really say much about like recording with other people. But I mean, when it comes to recording drums, I wouldn't want to go to anybody else. Like the time and effort he puts into recording drums alone is just absolutely insane. And he's like very particular, and like he gets everything exactly how he wants it, and like the drums just always sound incredible. So like I know like from that perspective that like you're just gonna get some really good stuff, like no matter what you do with him, especially for the drum department. But yeah,
hell yeah.
I'll jump into question 2, I guess, because that was a super sidetracked thing, but that's okay.
I like to talk.
Me too. Second question. Do you have a favorite genre of music that you like to either listen to or play, I guess?
See, this always changes through time, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Or just like a mood thing. So I mean, going to music school, you're surrounded by people of so many different backgrounds and stuff. But even sometimes at the end of the day, I just kind of, I was a big classic rock head before college. I was a big tech death guy before college. I was a big old school 80s punk. I had a hair metal phase at one point that was almost all I listened to. Crap, what am I feeling lately? And it's crazy. I just made like an album of the year list, and now I'm just kind of thinking, oh, this band I really love. They're so and so. I've been like very consistently been a big death metal guy all year.
Yeah,
big death metal guy. Kind of a big hardcore guy just because of like a lot of the friends surrounding my circle and just going to the shows a lot. I'm a big shoegaze guy.
Nice.
I like ambient music too, just when I'm feeling kind of calm and want to think and all of that.
Music was like my number one artist and all of that. I had there's an artist called Spokemon that redoes all of the Pokemon music as lo-fi, and I was like the like 0.0001% like listener and everything.
Smoky
I go to
Mod?
sleep. Yes, it's called Smoky Mod.
I'm
I
gonna
highly recommend. There's like a
keep that in
Pokemon
mind.
lo-fi like playlist that I put on like either to sleep or any like legit on my TV right now is 1980s and 90s lo-fi hip hop beats, nostalgic retro vibes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
listen to a lot of lo-fi.
I think there was only one person I saw who posted their like Spotify Wrapped, and it was the artist that just it was some code, but it's the artist that's just like where all the Minecraft ambient stuff comes from, and I'm just like, oh wow, I did not think of that. He's like, yeah, I sleep to this. I'm like, of course.
Exactly. It's the same as me, just Pokemon.
That's funny. That's funny.
So like, I don't know. I guess to listen to and play in a way. I don't know. I guess those are like the consistent for shoegaze, ambient, death metal, and hardcore. But I mean,
yeah,
with moods and everything, you know, it could be a whole plethora of things. And it's sometimes it's kind of like when I every now and then when I teach like a new guitar student like a first lesson for them, I asked like a few, you know, very basic questions, and the first one would be like, oh, what are your favorite bands and styles of music to listen to, and styles and bands that you would like or want to play? And obviously that's a very like broad open-ended question that could, you know, change over time, much like, you know, just listening and for me and all of that. So it's like it felt like that. I'm just thinking, I'm like the student, I'm like, fuck, should I reveal my weird playlists to him or just say something
something just completely acceptable?
yeah. But I'm like very similar in that way. Like I listen to, I mean, everything. Like there are days when I want to listen to ska. There are days when I want to listen to reggae. There's days when I want to listen to 80s, 90s, you know, hip hop. There's days, I mean, it's all over the place. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I think I went to school for music too, music history. And so like going to school for music and like listening to everything. I mean, because you're, you know, everyone has their own specific like, you know, niche that they listen to or want to listen to or are really obsessed with. But it's cool because once you go to school, especially for music, and you get to meet all those people, like every one of those people also has a niche that they're into. So it's like you get to like, you know what I mean? Like you get to like meet all these people where you're like, oh, well, my like not mine's the best, but like I'm more interested in this, and like, well, I'm more interested in this, and like one of the things we would do in a couple of our history classes at the end of the week is my teacher would all allow us to come in and like play one song that like, you know, we really liked. And it, like, so it was like, you got, I mean, stuff from like classical to jazz to pop to metal to like, so it's like every kid would come in and like have a different song to start off the day on Friday. And then like we would just talk about certain songs or talk about how certain things made you feel. And like, I mean, there were points where like I would mostly come in and play metal, and kids would just be like, "That sounds like shit," like you know what I mean? Like, and it was
that
like
was me also.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that's cool. Like I don't, you know, like, if you don't like it, that's fine. Like because some of the stuff that they played, I didn't like. You know what I mean? But just having that like exposure to all of that, I think really broadens you and just gives you like, I don't know, it just gives you a lot more. I mean, it should open you to like different types of music, even if you don't like it. And I think for sure, before I went to high school, like, or before I went to college, I was a little bit of a music snob in my own head. But then, like, going to college and meeting everybody else and listening to everything else, it definitely like made me relax that down. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't like certain things, but I can at least like sit here, listen to it, and just go like, okay, cool. It, you know, and just take it in for what it is, you know.
I feel that way too, because I was like, you know, I mean, I liked a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day, you know, like my main like music student friend group, like I was just kind of like the guy that was like the token metalhead kind of guy,
right?
And I remember like sophomore into senior year, so it was just every year except my freshman year. I lived in a house show venue that was right off of South Campus of UMass Lowell. We called it the Tip. I didn't think of the name. It's just been there for a while. And it was like, I'd be like the metalhead guy. There was a drummer who I went to Riot Fest with. He was kind of like the old school hardcore punk, but also funk guy.
Oh, cool.
Which like the funk makes sense because I could tell like, oh, that's where he gets like his groove and like ghost note from and stuff like that. We had a pianist roommate, so like the jazz was kind of like his main area of expertise kind of thing. It spans a lot, and you learn a lot from each other. And we had a basement sort of to ourselves to just kind of go down and jam whenever we want.
That's cool.
Well, not after 10 p.m. on weeknights, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that with like the music snob thing in high school, where it's just like, yeah, I know a lot of music, guys.
Right. Yeah.
And especially like, I think right before, what obviously wasn't solely all that I listened to, but I was like I said earlier, I was a big like tech death guy, and I liked a lot of like technical music just for the sake of it. But I think within my first year of college, it's like, oh, being technical isn't everything.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which like something that I like technically knew, but was still like, oh, right. I have to like remind myself because there's a lot of other cool ways to write a song than just trying to be crazy all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly. I say it, which is ironic of me saying that because I have the Aglet project, but different moods,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's kind of nice because it's kind of humbling a little bit because like I said, like you go there thinking like, well, this is how music is written. This is how it is, and I follow this and I do this or whatever. And then, but yeah, you really like get humbled when you like listen to some people and you're like, oh wow, like there's this one kid who mainly played acoustic guitar and did a little bit of stuff on the electric, but it was nothing ever like heavily distorted. It was all just very like singer-songwriter stuff. And like I remember listening to him. He'd play in class and do things, and we could either perform in class or do certain things in certain classes we were in. And I just remember like listening to him play, and it was just like he would play these just super like simplistic stuff. But he had a great voice, and he really knew how to just write. And he just would do these, I don't know, very somber kind of songs that he would write. And it was just like, I would just sit there and I would literally just like, I would sit back in my chair and just watch him and go, oh, okay. Like, this is so simple, but it sounds so good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to sit here and freaking.
There was a guy like that too.
Yeah.
I won't give any names, but after a while, I was like, okay, this is good. I respect this. And I mean, sometimes, it could be tough playing guitar and, singing, let alone something wicked catchy and, a voice that sticks out to people. I mean, that's already a skill in itself. And I'm like, already, mad respect to that, even if it's, simplistic or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Different strokes, different blokes.
Yeah, exactly.
This actually perfectly goes into the next question, which is, what instrument is your favorite to teach, and what is your favorite thing about teaching instruments to students?
So I only teach guitar, and I mean, I don't get to do it nearly as much time as I want to. I mean, especially this past season, I was working like a seasonal full-time job that on top of that, and band practices and shows and, spending time with, just hanging out and all that. It's like, oh, where's my window of teaching and all that? I'm just excited to teach. I don't have to do it all the time, which would be cool.
Right.
But I don't know. There's many things I really like about teaching. You teaching your own wisdom to people in a way. It's so tough to describe, honestly, but I mean, it definitely fills my heart with joy, just kind of teaching them a riff and then they're getting it, but they're getting better and better. And I'm just like, yes. It's tough to like really describe it, and just to see in their eyes that they are engaged and interested. It sucks like when someone clearly was, I think I had a student that like, it was like an hour-long lesson, and they usually have half-hour stuff. And I think they kept looking at the clock, and I'm just like, oh. I'm sorry. I get it, but
yeah.
Like crushing that, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I almost lost my train of thought. I was mostly like not self-taught. Like my dad taught me a little bit in the beginning, and I had like teachers in college to help. But I was mostly, other than that, just like a self-taught guitarist. So teaching was pretty daunting to me for the longest time. So I didn't really start doing it till like a couple years ago, because I'm just thinking, it's like, do I teach him the way I learned it, or just teach him how, schools do that? And it's like, I think no matter what, because of you're dealing with different students, it's always going to be a learning experience. But that's part of the excitement. And I mean, like, it's fun. Like I said earlier, it's fun just to kind of like, put a little bit of yourself in the teaching process, and just kind of, like I said, giving them your own wisdom and seeing them just like, oh, this is sick kind of thing. I don't know. Our time on this earth is short. Might as well just, learn to riff, rock and roll a little bit.
Yeah.
I love seeing, people pick up the guitar no matter what age. It's never too late to kind of do that.
Yeah. But, yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's definitely I taught drums for a little bit, not a very long time, but for a little bit. And I feel like the one thing that I enjoyed was seeing where their enjoyment with the instrument was. You know what I mean? So it's like when they come in and they're like, I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to do this. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, how can I make that path easier for them? Right. So it's like, because sometimes they come and they're like, I want to learn this. And it's like, well, you're not there yet. You know what I mean? Like I have to teach you a couple things to get you to be there. But like, I think that was the fun part for me, because if they knew that they were going to learn what they wanted to learn, and I could get them there fairly quickly, like that was kind of the cool part for me, is like, because you could see them, they kind of had like that chase mentality. Like they're like, oh, okay, I can, if I do this and do this and do this, I can do this final part. Or if there's a specific song they wanted to learn and they're like, wow, this part's really cool, I want to know how to do this. It's like, okay, cool. Like, let's get you to that part. You know what I mean? Let's see, what part, if you're, getting caught up on a certain part, or, whatever. I think that was always the fun part for me, is like seeing, how I could get them from point A to point B, you know what I mean? And then their excitement when they get there, you know what I mean? But yeah, teaching,
it's fun to like just play the song together with the student, like you're dual guitarists in a band, like, I don't know, you're freaking Boston or Judas Priest or Kiss, right. Just like you're picture yourself like, yeah, we're rocking out twin guitar solo kind of thing.
Yeah,
I thought of the Judas Priest thing because one of my students that I sadly don't have anymore, he was like a 40-year-old dad that just wanted to like get back into the swing of things, but he had to stop because he was just wicked busy, and he was just about to be like a sports coach. But I was teaching him how to play Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Yeah.
And he was getting the parts down, and I'm just like, yeah, let me play with you.
Let's do it.
But that
awesome.
Part's like always satisfying. No matter what speed you play this stuff, it's always so satisfying to just jam with your student. Yeah. Whether you're playing different parts or the same part, and it's like you're in your head like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely super rewarding. Like, cause I think it's hard to get, like, it's hard to teach people. You know what I mean? Like, even if even if you're competent at what you're doing, and what you're doing, doesn't mean you can teach people. Like it's a whole nother skill set, like in itself, to be able to like take that energy that someone's excited to do something and like turn that into them actually doing those parts. So it's like that was tough for me sometimes, because it was just like, I don't know. I tried to do that, but sometimes I feel like I was falling short, and that's why I was like, I just don't know if I should keep teaching. Like, and so that's the main reason why I stopped. I usually taught younger kids to play drums, but and then another person in my area ended up taking over and has done a phenomenal job. So it's like it's cool, but it was always fun to just get those people who really like you said, like I had a practice kit that I would bring, just like a practice pad kit. So it was just like all foldable. It was like foldable. So I would like fold it out and like play with them, but like they'd actually have their drum kit because I would go to their houses. That's kind of how I did mine.
I would be the same way. Well,
yeah,
there was one company, it was called Rob's Guitar School out in Groton, Massachusetts. And I stopped mainly because it was like a very part-time thing, and I'm trying, financially I was pretty down in the dumps at the time. But obviously they come to me, but like I still do like private stuff now and then. That's usually me just going to their house or something. I sadly, even with these guitars next to me, I don't have the most, vital space here to like teach. But
it happens.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. But I could do it virtually like this, so
that's
as long
true.
as they have a similar setup, like then anything is possible.
Exactly. I tried to do that one time, and it was hard on drums just because like the mics and stuff like that, like with all the cymbals and the high end stuff, like it was so hard to hear stuff. Guitar wise, I'm sure it would be way easier. I've never done that with the guitar, but I'm sure
guitar was definitely better. I think there was a couple students where like their mics were just acting funny or something, where I couldn't really hear them at all.
Yeah.
So damn it, in my head. But I mean, it's perfect here in a way because like you could. I've mainly done them on Discord.
Yeah.
Where like the calls can be as long as possible, technically, even though obviously you can't do that. But like you could screen share, like you could share a Spotify playlist and you listen to it together.
Right.
And it was like, oh, that's very convenient. Now we're all on the same page like that.
Yeah. A lot easier.
I can only imagine on drums, or especially guitar, or someone's guitar, then someone's drums trying to play at the same time. I bet would be.
Probably not great. Probably not great. That's funny. Cool. We'll jump into question 4. So how many projects are you actually in, and how do you find the time to be able to do all of that? Because it seems pretty intense to me.
Was this one planned in advance? Or
I planned the questions.
All right. Imaginary thinking cap. So my active ones right now, Wisdom and War, Upon Broken Apologies, both play guitar in. JudgeXJudy, the X is silent. I have to warn people, we're not straight edge. Sorry. I know some people don't like that. That's okay. But yeah, JudgeXJudy. Those are like the 3 bands actively like playing out. Aglet I've never like played out. It was just always been me, and I've had like guest vocalists. Well, now I have a vocalist, but I don't have anybody else. And who's gonna play drums live on it all the time? The drummer that played on the EP is like, I'm not touching it. I'm not playing live. It's too difficult. And I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I have to think about every other band I've been in. I think earlier this year. I played in Shortest Life, and we did a reunion gig sort of recently. I might be playing a couple more with them. I mean, it'll just be. I think Nick wants to do like one-offs once every now and then. He doesn't want to play out too often. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I mean, I might still be too busy for that, but I mean, I'll play if needed. And earlier this year, this band sadly imploded because of creative and personal differences. But I was in a band. I was playing guitar in a band called Climb for almost 2 years.
I love Climb. That was like one of my favorite projects you were in.
What bums me out more is that the stuff is not on Spotify anymore, and I'm like, no, come on. I did
not know that. That makes sense. Oops. It hasn't come on my Spotify in a while, but oh my gosh, that makes sense.
That's mainly because, like, I played on every instrument and wrote the instrumentals to that EP that was on Spotify, and I'm like, man, I put a lot of work into that. Why do you got to do that?
Yeah.
And like, it's funny. We were recording the next EP, and then the band just imploded after that. Like we recorded at Tower Farm with Charlie and Ben, which I was mentioning was doing the ideas and stuff. And I'm just like, I have like the instrumentals in my Dropbox, but like they're not coming out anytime soon, sadly.
Yeah.
But I was so proud of that. And we had Kumi on drums, which he's a freaking beast on the kit. Shout out! I have to name it. He's
another one that's in so many projects.
Another band whore. He's in Risk, Death Strider, Can't Lose. Why am I have a brain fart? He wasn't Justin Clancy. Why is this hard? There's a whole lot with him too.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking backwards. I think the main band that I was before all this, or it kind of, I put it on like a hiatus early last year, but it was like my brainchild of a project for a few years, and it was called Rasputin.
Duh! Wow! Yeah. Holy cow!
Post-hardcore shoegaze band. I stopped that because like I was just so busy and I was not in the good mental state at the time. I was like, hey, I need to take a break from this. I think I had like a long like notes thing. I didn't post it anywhere, obviously. That's why some people might still think we're still a band. But you know, I had like a long notes thing, and I sent it to like, well, I sent it to my vocals privately only because like he deactivated his Facebook at the time, but then since got it back. So I'm like, oh, I'll just send it to him, and all he responded at the time was word. I mean, we're good, but I was just like, oh, okay. But I sent it in the band chat on Facebook Messenger. The drummer at the time was Jake French, and bassist at the time was Casey Darren, and they were very understanding. It's like, dude, you're in like these other bands that are taking off and they're doing well. And I totally get on the mental state part. It's like, hey man, it's been an honor, to be in this band. I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who knows if we'll come back? We had a couple songs that we were thinking of recording that we've been playing live and all that. But there's a whole list of bands before that. I don't know if you want me to leave it there or not, but that's already a lot. That's
about.
Yeah.
I think that's all the ones like post-pandemic. Even though I've had Rasputin since 2016. I'm just naming stuff
a little while longer. Yeah,
post-pandemic, because I joined. JudgeXJudy was made during, if not basically the end of the pandemic. I've been in UBA since actually for a couple years now. It was made a couple years ago, and Wisdom and War, I joined them mid 2022 or like a little before that. And yeah, that's post-pandemic. And then there was a bunch of other bands before then. I was mostly in like, I feel like over time I slowly join like heavier and heavier bands, but they're not like straight up metal bands. Because I think at first I was playing like a cover band with some high school friends, and then I was in like a pop punk alt rock kind of band, and like the whole indie rock and emo band kind of circuit. Then I'm like, oh, I joined a post-hardcore band. Okay, let's see how crazy we can go. And it's crazy being a metalhead for such a long time. I've never been in like a straight up metal band, but I'm in like stuff that has like metal influences. And it's nice being in the bands that I'm in now, because UBA is like a metalcore band with like melodic death metal influences sprinkled in. Wisdom and War is a hardcore band with new metal influences all over that. JudgeXJudy, like, we're not like, don't have a lot of metal, but I mean, we're grindcore bands. That's close enough. They're all wicked different, and it's like, I can't really confuse all of them.
No.
If I was in like a bunch of bands that sound the same, I would go insane.
Yeah, I'm sure. You need to have a little bit of like, I don't know, different. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be a little different to stay fresh and want to do it. You know what I mean? If you're in three bands that play exactly the same genre, like I don't think I wouldn't want to do that either.
No,
like
might as well just compress them into one band. Yeah. And I always want to do different stuff. That's the problem with me trying to be like, I'm in all these bands, but damn, I want to be in a straight up death metal band. I want to do a ska band, or I want to.
Ed.
Yep.
I want to do a freaking dark wave, new wave band where I'm just wearing black lipstick, a big ass trench coat, and sunglasses with a keyboard on stage. Because I love that shit too. It's like there's so much stuff I want to do, and well, you can't do everything at once. The 3 bands I'm in right now are, just plentiful, happening, and I'm grateful for that.
For sure.
Absolutely. So with that, number 5, what was your favorite show that you played in 2024? I mean, it could be this Saturday for all we know, but thus far.
I know, it's like how I made an album of the year list, and then I check out some, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Got at it.
Favorite show of the year. Have to rewind. I know every time I've played P&I Club, it was crazy. And that was with UBA both times. It was Arson Fest and then the Christmas Fest that we just played. I'm trying to think. Wisdom did a tour. I'm trying to think of the favorite show on the tour. There was one day that we played a show. We played in Philly. It was with Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And Andy's like, you want to play this with us? And he had freaking 3 or 4 guitar players, including me, during that set. That was fun, honestly.
Everyone.
That's funny.
I know Paul from JudgeXJudy, he sets up these he's starting to set up this annual 420 Weed Violence Fest every year. Amazing. That one earlier this year was really fun. Yeah, that was at Sammy's, and this one coming up, 420 is on a Sunday, so he's trying to make it potentially a Saturday and Sunday kind of deal at the Mid-East.
Okay.
I hope that's for certain. That's just in the talks. He's confirmed a lot of bands already, and I'm just like, oh, this is good. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm doing the rolling the imaginary play do kind of.
Yeah. We're sending it.
But fuck. I'm kind of biased toward the UBA shows just because this was we put out the demo almost 2 years ago, but we started playing shows this year because it just took a while to find bandmates, and a lot of the shows really popped off on that.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be either one of those P&I shows or some show on the Wisdom tour, I believe.
Yeah.
But damn, that's a tough one. I have a Excel sheet of all the shows that I played. I don't know if that's crazy or not. Well, at least of this year.
Yeah.
Who was the tour with?
Oh, I gotta give them a shout out. We toured with Edict.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And I think they were we were direct supporting them the whole way. And it was so fun. It was a 2-week thing. I'd never done a tour that long ever, just because of financials and shit. We went down to East Coast and back up. When we went back up, we were a little more inland. And I think the best show on tour, weirdly enough, was on a Wednesday night in somewhere in Kentucky. The basement of a barbershop. And it packed the fuck out.
Amazing.
It was dope.
That's
it was
cool.
Insane. That was I think that was, I don't know how we did on merch sales, but that was kind of the most also people coming. I was yo, sick set, kind of thing. And made some friends from that.
Yes. Nice. Amazing. The hospitality. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe the Kentucky show. Play Kentucky. It's a market that people don't, I feel not enough people remember to play.
Not. Yeah,
play Kentucky, no.
Tennessee's right there.
Knock loose, then yeah.
I'm playing Nashville. Kentucky, skipping over it. Chicago. Play Kentucky. It wasn't Louisville. It was it's Richmond, Kentucky. It was Sword in there, Lexington, which I barely know Kentucky town names. That's just but I think this was not far from Appalachia. I looked on the map. I was like, oh damn, we weren't in the woods, but it felt like on the map we were close to like the mountains and stuff, and it was a nice area. So shout out Kentucky.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I think that's my answer for favorite shows of the year. It's a tough one, and who knows if this Saturday in Holden, Maine, to be specific, it was like I think
the ski house. Is that the right town? Am I thinking? No, that's Bangor, right, Ed?
The Holden one is going to be the snowmobile club.
I think it's at it. I'm gonna
right. I believe
it's that's
where I saw Kanashi. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, that's where you would have seen Kanashi.
Yeah, because
so it's called
on it.
Christmas Fest 2.
Yep.
I don't think they have. It's hard to read some of this. I don't know if they have the venue name labeled.
It might not be labeled. It probably just has the address.
It does have the address. It's in something 711 Hour Road or something. Holden, Maine.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All ages sober space. It was like a DIY place. But I know Kanashi played that snowmobile club. I was like, oh, that's the place to play. Because I know last time I played up there, at least that way, it was April of last year. Or April 1st, Wisdom and War played at the Queen City Cinema Club, opening for Cruel Hand. It had The World, Fish Face was on it, and Gumscab played it. It was one of Gumscab's first shows.
Yep.
Crazy ass show. Rest in peace to that venue, I heard.
Yep.
That venue was cool as hell.
Yep.
And then a week later, Shortest Life comes up, and fuck, what hall was that? I don't know. It was some like big like hall. It was like bigger than what our lineup should be, but still like a decent amount of people pulled up. It was like, Shortest Life was direct supporting Forked Tongue.
Yep.
We had Neighborhood shit on. Heavyweight played.
Oh, sick. Wow.
I forget what the fifth band was. It was a decent lineup. Both shows, we drove back to Massachusetts after.
Oh my God, no. That's
the second time it was like we took separate cars. Wisdom, thankfully, because of Chanel, we could just take the van together as a band. But like this, the second weekend when Shortest Life played up there, it was like, two separate cars. I had the bass player who was asleep half the time, and I'm just like, all right, quiet time. Hope he doesn't mind that I have to stop to take a piss real quick.
Yeah, that is a long trip. That is a long ass trip.
I don't have to drive this time, and we're staying in a hotel.
Okay, there you go.
So, thank God.
Yeah,
that's been the one thing with like farther shows is like, especially the ones I've like gone with for Rap Blood this year, is like anything Connecticut or even further Maine, it's like hotel, air, something like that can just like break it up. But Joe now has his he just got a 2021 Sprinter van that he's wicked excited about. That is going to make things like just so much easier.
Yeah, that's going to be so
much. That's a smart decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Going to be way nicer to have that.
Exactly.
I got to convince my other bands to get a van or
just hit Joe up. He wants to, like, that's his plan, is to be able to drive bands and everything. So
having him drive the freaking Judge Judy mobile, him and Paul are just gonna be gooning in the front. And just be like,
I want to put in one of the captain's chairs, like the swivel chairs for the passenger seat and everything. So it'll be an amazing time.
That's cool. That's cool.
I picture one of us just smoking a doobie with him in the front seat the whole time. Dude.
That's funny.
JudgeXJudy, we're not a straight edge band, we're a weed band. I apologize to the people who thought we were a straight edge band.
Sorry.
I think I was the one in the first place that was like, hey, what if we put the X in there as a joke? And I'm looking back like, oh, right.
Now people are going to be upset.
Fun fact about Judge Judy. When we started, there was another person in the band named Camden. And I never thought that would ever happen because Camden feels like such a rare name.
That's funny.
But he was like another vocalist. I was still a drummer. I was shitty on drums at the time, and Paul was just playing bass, sort of doing vocals. Now it's me and Paul, Kyle, and Sam. Yeah, 2 Camdens in the band. Like, what are the odds?
That's a lot. That's a lot of Camdens in one band.
Camden squared.
Yeah.
I did not do that right. No, it's freaking.
Oh wait, no, that's just.
There we go. That's the square.
Yeah.
I was doing the hashtag.
You're like wrong.
This little guy. All the above, wrong.
That's awesome. Oh, okay, cool.
I'm getting too goofy. Next question.
No, there's no such thing as too goofy.
I downed an entire one of those like Izzy sparkling beverage drinks, and I'm getting zooted.
Off the chain. Yeah.
I got a pack for Christmas. It's not my fault.
That's true.
Amazing.
All right.
That's awesome.
Focused. Locked in.
Yeah, our favorite question we like to ask people, who are some of your favorite bands in the New England area currently?
Let me bring up this giant Chipotle receipt of bands. I don't have glasses, but I'll pretend I have glasses. I'm immediately gonna think I have to do this, but I have to think of other bands that other bandmates of mine are in. Just to like, but not to be biased, they are good bands.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let's say JudgeXJudy. Paul's in a really cool hardcore band called Industrial Grade Chemical Cleaner. They don't play shows often nowadays because I think one of them moved to like Wisconsin or something, but they still like play. They're playing 2 shows in Massachusetts, and not this weekend, but the weekend after, Worcester and Lowell. Kyle now has a new band with Maddie Coburn called Cleansed.
Duh. Okay.
It's a small world, low key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not
He plays
know that,
guitar in that band. He like shows me like riffs every now and then when he's coming up with them. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
you know,
They
kind of
got it.
thing. I hope he's listening to this and just being like, "That's right, Camden. I did send it to you."
Shout out Cleansed.
Shout out Slam Dunk Duggan. Sam plays drums in a band called Paint by Numbers. It's like an alt rock band, and then he has like he has his own solo stuff too. He's a crazy like electronic music like producer too. Like,
oh, that's cool.
He's been showing me like he's been making some like cinematic stuff, like for movies and stuff, and I'm like, oh, someone better pick up on this. So he's kind of a jack of all trades.
That's cool.
And I'm the guy in the band that's in. Oh, I'm in this, and so on. I had a brain fart. In UBA, obviously, shout out Shortest Life. Shout out my other guitarist has a band called Far Harbor that he's been putting together. And he has a couple projects going on. I mean, he's been wicked busy, so he hasn't really been able to do much with those. But like, he's started a crust punk band called Suicide Watch, and he started like a noise project called Death Toll Hypocrisy, which I'm like, that's a crazy fucking band name. Please do stuff with this.
That's a cool name. I was just about to say that's a rad name.
And my bassist George, he's like the one in the band that's like not the least hardcore, but he's like probably the most detached from the hardcore scene because he came from like a bunch of like rock shows in like Lowell and Cambridge and all of that. But then like he'll every now and then just come up with the filthiest, most disgusting fight riff you could ever fucking imagine. And we're like, Jesus Christ. He's also, well, it helps because he's also a big death metal head too. But he has a rock band called Night Visions that are really dope. He sings and plays guitar in. He has his own like freaking electronic project, Star Witch. He has a new wave, one man new wave project called Blood Wistera. He does all instruments and it sounds crazy as hell. I'm like, what the?
I'll check that out. That sounds interesting.
Then he plays. I've yet to see this band live, but he plays in a band called Fizz Paste. Fizz Paste.
What?
You might be able to check it out if you find his page.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the Wisdom and War members. Now, I'm not the biggest band whore in that band. I have to name drop. It's you, Malik. He's in a bunch of cool hardcore bands. He also plays in Life's End. He plays in False Grip. He played in Capo Kong. Shout out to all those bands. I'm definitely missing one. He has a new one called No Calm, which has the vocalist of Hard Target in it, and it's just like just heavy ass beating freaking metallic hardcore.
Okay.
So he's in 5 bands. Malik is in 5 bands. And
Dang.
I'm like, damn, I thought I was in a lot. Jake played in Underthrow, and I missed that band.
Big
Like
same.
a dope metalcore band. I feel like sometimes they walked so UBA could also walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snook also plays in Life's End. And I'm getting a brain fart. No, he was in.
Does Snook play drums in Life's End? If Malik, because he's vocals, right?
Malik plays bass in every band he's in.
Got it. Okay.
I know it gets confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want one huge like map. It's exactly of like your meme of like this is it. Like it's just a map of like what everyone
Let's
is
talk
in.
about like all the people in the bands, like
exactly all the crossover people of like the Kumis, what everyone plays.
the Kumis.
the Kumis.
Shout out to the Kumi bands. I said them earlier, but shout out Risk. I gotta shout them out because I have a Risk tattoo on my thigh, done by Justin Whipple of Blood Tithe. Shout out Blood Tithe.
What?
I know it's crazy small world. You're just like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
who are you hanging with? I watch the guy from so and so band. What? Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not really doing that. I'm just.
Internally, you are though, because it's like having those moments is just
sometimes
like
it's just like when you're like a big fan of the band, you can't help but think that one way or another. I'm just like, damn, this
and
guy
there's really
is
like
in this
just
band.
small world things. Yeah.
Maybe it's just like selling yourself short. It's like this guy in this band is hanging out with me.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy.
So you got to say what everyone like within everyone. What's your dream like tour lineup? Because that would be like show some of you.
Oh no.
Love throwing in hard questions.
This might have to be different with each band that I'm in.
Valid.
But I know for Wisdom, like freaking Slipknot, Limp Bizkit.
There you go.
And then you have Hatebreed right there.
Okay.
And then let's say Speed, 100 Demons or something like that.
That'd be sick.
I think I've joked with a couple people that are like, yeah, we're half Korn, half Hatebreed, and we've covered both. So
amazing.
Oh man, like
the Korn. Oh, I miss I remember being at the Wham Leg show for the Korn cover and everything. Rest in peace, Wham Leg or Wham Leg.
I think we still covered that. If like the people are really feeling it. Which I don't know when we're gonna stop covering it. I can't tell you when. Me, Snook, and Jake the other day, like we jammed out playing Roots by Sepultura. And I'm just like, let's do that at some point. Come on.
Awesome.
Fuck. Dream tour lineup.
I know. It's a beast of a question.
I have to go back to shouting out other bands because that seems a lot easier than this.
That is fine. I like to throw it through, but we can just do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Reading a Wikipedia page of. I'm reading my own Wikipedia page of Cam's favorite bands. Well, technically local, technically not, but shout out Voices in Vain. They've released one of my favorite records of the year, and I'm trying to play shows with them stat. I know we kind of technically did last month because we played the Jewel Back Room together. And I'm like, fuck, man, I want to play more shows with Voices in Vain. That band is just so stupid tight. It's unfair. They're like the torchbearers of metalcore in Vermont, like their home state. And Scott, their drummer, he filled in on drums for that Wisdom 2-week tour. So shout out Scott. And fuck, what other bands? Shout out Edict, of course. Shout out Fishface. I'm not going to do the finger thing. I don't have enough fingers for that. Shout out Fish Face point 2, point 3, point 4. No. Clock Out. They're an awesome band.
Shout out Christy, absolutely.
Shade Thrower, another really cool band.
Shout out Matt Connolly and being in Edict. I knew that was going to be like the lineup because one of the first times I saw Shape Thrower in Rhode Island, the now vocalist of Edict was still in Shape Thrower. So like as soon as Joe left, like I was just like, this is like what it's going to be. Like once I heard about Matt joining in, super excited for a new Edict.
I'm in another band too that I'm like, let me play with you more often. I know I did a tour, but come on.
That's not enough.
It isn't enough. I'm having a brain fart.
That's okay.
Thinking of all of these bands. I guess the Izzy didn't really do as much as I exaggerated it would do. But I'm like, now I'm just thinking of like flyers in my head. Like, oh, we played with them. Shout out to that. But I mean, shout out Husk, one of my favorite metalcore bands from Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of young freaking kids fucking playing it really well. And they're a 3-piece. And that's already crazy in itself. Shout out Multiple Pieces. I almost feel like I have to because I filled in on bass for them for 2 months. And I also like that kind of music a lot. And I'm just like, I'm glad they're releasing music at midnight. I totally forgot about that.
Shout out Multiple Pieces.
So now Multiple Pieces releasing new music. Shout out Jackal. Shout out one of my favorite screamo bands in Massachusetts, Sue. Silent Spring. Shout out In Contempt, crazy new power violence band that's basically Die Nameless but one member change. Freaking. All right, don't think I'm an asshole for forgetting your band. But with Hate Still Burns, Gum Scab, freaking Sophisticated Adult, Set the Bar Low. You're all cool cats to me. Knives, All right, I'm gonna stop with that because
that's pretty good.
That's a good amount.
Yeah. No, that's
anyone not named, like you're still honorable mention. You're still
all the Tower Farm bands, all the Tubman bands, all the producer bands.
As many as possible.
Sorry guys, that's all you get.
That's perfect.
So then last question. What's next for you and all of your projects?
Should I drop hints in this podcast? Should I not? Well, I know the JudgeXJudy show this Saturday. I don't think we have any booked shows until we're trying to plan a weekender in mid-March. I think just trying to play in New England, sort of, but not in Massachusetts. Because it's like, all right, we play Massachusetts too much. That's easy to get a show in.
Yeah.
Come play Bad Burger. Let me know.
I will. At some point. I don't know how soon, but at some point.
Absolutely.
I've never been there, so.
They got pretty good burgers and really great music, of course.
See, you can't call it Good Burger because that's already taken for a Nickelodeon show.
Exactly.
That's true.
You can't just be. You gotta have, Joe Chubbuck just be like, "Welcome to the Bad Burger, home of the Bad Burger. What band am I booking today?" That does not sound like Joe. I'm sorry, Joe.
That's perfect though.
But, you did a pretty good Joe earlier on in the episode, so it's good.
I did?
You did.
All right. Let's stay on topic. JudgeXJudy, I think at the same time, we're slowly trying to write a full length. I mean, we put out a promo this year of like 3 songs, and that's gonna be. I think that's how a promo is. You put the promo songs, re-record them, and put them on the full length.
Yep.
And then us, mainly Paul. He's the one. Without Paul, it wouldn't be Judge Judy. It'd just be a regular ass power balance band. He's the one that comes up with most, if not all, of the goofy song titles. Like we're playing a new song Saturday, and he titled it "The Green M&M Isn't a Safe Word." And awesome. We're finally putting in a new song in the set for the first time in a year. So I'm like, yes!
And that's it.
It's like a minute or so long song. I think I feel like we got the idea for that. I think it was either a meme on Facebook or an actual thing that happened. I think it was an actual thing that happened. I think it was like Tucker Carlson was complaining about the green M&M, how they changed it.
Yeah.
I think Paul just wrote a song about that. So that's happening. We're slowly writing a full length. I don't know when we're recording it. UBA, we have 2 shows in January for Alchemy's album release run. We're playing in Providence and Boston. And I don't think we have any shows until March also for that. But like I said earlier in this podcast, we've recorded an EP, a 5-song EP with Jacob Tubman, who plays in Alley Trash. He played in Hate Ward, Supermax. We've recorded down in Rhode Island. We're hoping to release it late winter, early spring sometime. And this is the first release where it's like the 5 of us together, because the demo, it was just me and Eddie. So this is definitely like a lot more collaborative and a lot more like, of each other into this. Crack a toe. Wisdom, we have a few like written songs in the background. We debuted the new song at the Christmas Fest. I know I have to miss the main show that Wisdom's playing next month because it overlaps a UBA show, and I'm like, sorry guys, but they're playing with Gumscab and a bunch of other friends up in Biddeford, and if you're in the area, don't miss out. And then we're playing, I think it's a one-off. We're playing Baltimore in February.
Okay.
And freaking, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to be playing all the time. I think maybe just because, like, well, I don't want to play our own home areas all the time. We're going to have to, like, just branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
Or try not to do one-offs. Like, maybe a bunch of weekenders and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just so it still gives us a lot of time between now and then to kind of play and get together, learn, shoot the shit and do whatever else. So I can't guarantee we're playing more shows than this year, but we'll be busy one way or another, releasing music or recording music. And I might sound biased, but I'm excited. So
nice.
And yeah, entering Maine this weekend. There's a Vermont show booked for 2 of those bands. There's an Albany show booked. We're doing the damn thing more and more, I guess.
Nice.
And if I forget anything else, it's probably because I don't want to reveal that.
Exactly. That's cool. Yeah,
Agwood ain't doing shit right now.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing. That's awesome. Yeah, it obviously sounds like you've got an intense amount going on, but it's really cool. It'll be exciting to see the new stuff that comes out, and playing shows and stuff. I know at some point my vocalist will probably reach out to one of you. We wanna try to play a show with Wisdom and War. It's somewhere. So I'm
down.
Yeah, Ryan was gonna reach out at some point. I think we would definitely love to do that. Try to get like Fish Face on it or something else too, and another band up here from Maine. So we were thinking about trying to do something. So I'll see what we can do. Figure something out.
Every time Wisdom has played Maine, it's been a freaking blast.
Oh yeah,
I think we played 3 times last year. I don't think we played this year. I'm trying to remember. My spreadsheet will say otherwise. But, we played Bangor. We played Portland twice. Yeah. Geno's and the Cavern, and then Bangor. The Queen City Cinema Club.
Yep. Yeah, Portland. I remember I think I remember I wasn't able to go to the Geno show that you guys had there, but I know that was like a pretty freaking rad show. Yeah,
It was rad.
Yeah, and I know when you guys come up here, I mean, it definitely you guys pull pretty heavy up here, so that's super cool. But yeah, we'll definitely we'll plan something. I'll figure something out. It'd be cool to play a show with you guys at some point. So we'll definitely see what we
I
can
haven't
do.
seen Death's Hand yet. I see you guys on flyers a lot.
Yeah, we're playing at Bad Burger in New Hampshire on the 18th, 19th?
Ah,
18th. Yes.
Yeah, 18th.
It's a
Yeah.
Bad Burger. Bearing Point, Rose Lane.
home of the Bad Burger.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
not a Replit show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's was it Rose Lane?
Yeah.
Erase
Rose
Me,
Lane, Bearing
Death's
Point,
Hand.
Erase Me, and Death's Hand.
That's another. Yeah. I haven't seen. Actually, I've never seen any of those bands live either.
There you go.
Hey.
Erase Me, I'm the least familiar with. I know Bearing Point's from Connecticut.
Yep.
And I mean, I sadly can't just drive up from Massachusetts to Central Maine to see Death's Hand all the time.
That's true.
So
I think
come to Manchester.
I know the guy from Rose Lane. He was briefly in I Know a Ghost, and I saw him in that. And then
wow,
I haven't seen like Rose Lane. Just straight up. I feel like I think sometimes I play a show the same day, and I'm like, can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
And it's Anthony's birthday show, and he's easily like for the scene. Like if he is about like your band, he will be like one of the most like supportive people. Wants to see like everyone do well and everything. So
yeah, we're super pumped that he asked us to play. We're definitely going to be trying to play some more shows down in Mass for sure. We're gonna.
I know it feels like a trek, but I mean, we'll make it worth your while.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's like, I mean, from where I live in Maine to drive up to Bangor is 2.5 hours, and then where I live and to drive down to Boston is 2.5 hours. So it's like it's the same thing. So whether I go to Bangor or go to like Boston, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's
Bangor is. So I live like my town. I live in Wilmington. And that's kind of like halfway between Boston and New Hampshire.
Yeah.
This is the best way that I could describe it.
Yeah.
I think Bangor is 3.5 hours from me.
Yeah. That would make sense from where you're at. Yeah.
Saturday, we're coming from Sam's house, which is down in the South Shore in Scituate. So that's going to be like 4+ at least.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's going to be brutal. But
like I said, I ain't driving.
That's right. That's right. Makes it worth it. But yeah, we're definitely trying to play some more shows in New Hampshire and Mass. That's kind of where we're gonna try to focus on that. We really want to play in Vermont too. I really want to try to plan a show in Vermont somewhere.
Vermont feels a lot of fun. Tougher to book, I feel like.
It's really hard to book.
Burlington has a few venues. I know a couple guys. Like I know the guy that's helped Judge Judy. His name is Scott Gray. Shout out Scott Gray. He helped us play there on a poppin' Saturday night. I know Brattleboro. There's like basically one, maybe two venues. And Snook, the drummer, runs one of them. He books and helps run the skate park.
Oh, cool.
That's been like popping off with shows. Like he collabs with Days on some fire lineups every now and then. He just had that band Torture come down there.
Yeah.
And that place looked way too small for that band.
Yeah.
But crazy stuff can happen in Brattleboro every now and then. Depends on who you ask, specifically Snook.
Yeah.
But I know I'm trying to play Burlington also because I'll be back in Burlington just chilling in a couple weeks, but that's not playing a gig. But
no. Yeah, that's definitely something we want to do as well. Is just try to play Burlington, play a couple more shows in New Hampshire, hit up Mass, and then we'll play
just do a weekender out of it.
That's true.
Exactly.
We've been thinking about it. We'll see.
You could start in Vermont, and then you do like Bad Burger on a poppin' Saturday night, and then Sunday you go to your motherland, your homeland, and you wherever in Maine you want to play in, whether it's. I mean, I only know Portland, Biddeford, and
Yeah, it'd be the Portland or Biddeford area most likely. I wouldn't want to go all the way up to Bangor. I'm all set with that.
But that's smart. Finish at home, like
yeah,
just
exactly.
and
finish a little bit
or
closer.
Just book a random VFW in some random town.
Yeah,
or whatever. It's like I just saw a flyer a flyer the other day. It was like one of my favorite local bands, Husk. It's like they're playing in Pepperell, Mass. I'm like, what? They have a venue?
Yeah.
Fuck. I've never seen a show there ever.
That's amazing.
You could do that. You could do find a VFW and wink wink nudge nudge Camden, Maine, and be like, yeah, Camden, Maine hardcore. And
exactly.
then you could pull me up.
Amazing.
That'd be hilarious.
Camden and the Camden.
Random.
I feel that sometimes it's just like, I don't know what freaking town this is, but this show's popping.
Yeah.
It's like
that'd be a blast.
Wisdom played in Gloversville, New York, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
it's like between Syracuse and Albany, somewhere along that. And I'm like, we headlined, it was cool.
That's awesome.
I guess sometimes aside from the goofiness, my main point is just kind of like, all right, if these main venues are unavailable, we'll make our own venue.
Oh yeah,
we'll find the new spot.
There's some places I know we could do that for sure, but we want to plan a weekend there at some point. I think that'd be a blast.
It's like another town that I didn't expect to like have shows is like, what's that place in Farmington I'm seeing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
is it Farmington,
what?
Maine?
Yeah.
So that's where I went to school. I went to school in Farmington.
So you went to UMaine Farmington campus?
Yes.
I'm a drummer in my high school band went there. I don't know if he's living up there still, but his name is Jeremy. Shout out Jeremy. I haven't seen you in a grip. I miss you.
Yes. I went to school up there, and I was surprised. There's a couple of shows. I can't remember who played up there, but I think it was Fork Tongue, and a couple other people played up there at that show. I think it was Serling and a couple other bands.
I fucking love Serling.
Yeah,
those are the homies.
Yep.
I saw both of those bands on also with Rap Blood and Kanashi at the ski. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that was that show up in up in Farmington. Up in Farmington, but and up in Holden. But yeah, there's some crazy places that are starting to get like just random venues that people are trying to find, just because there's a lot of stuff that's closing down in Portland, and like you said, the stuff up in Bangor's, Queen City's done, and there's a couple other venues that closed down. The Bangor Arts Center closed down, so I mean, there's a bunch of places that are just like, there's not a lot of places to play, so a lot of people are doing that.
There's always, I feel this with Woe a lot, even though Woe has a few venues, which is cool, but I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like there's so much potential for just a booming freaking like arts music adjacent kind of scene.
Oh yeah.
And it's like clearly the people are there, but like it's just like the town just fucks them over.
Yeah,
like one way. It's like I name drop a little because like recently they announced like this big like small business store like Mecca. Mill number 5 is closing down at the end of next month, and that's like that just feels like the freaking like punch in the gut kind of thing. Like it's like a freaking like staple, the gem of like Lowell when it comes to like arts and music and stuff like that. I'm just like, well, fuck, I know where I'm doing my Christmas shopping.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, it's super tough, but like especially in Maine, I think we talked about this on a podcast a couple podcasts ago. Is just like a lot of, it's really hard to find venues, so it's like you end up playing at like restaurants, like you know what I mean, like Bad Burgers doing that thing, you know what I mean, like we played at a roast beef shop over in Westbrook. I'm blanking on the freaking name.
Wait,
insane.
I think I know what place you're talking about.
I'm blanking.
I saw Edict.
Yeah,
the one was Edict, Blood Tithe, Gumscab, Fishface, Mancala.
Yeah,
it was the day after my birthday. Roads were icy as fuck, and I was like determined, like, no, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I stayed in Portsmouth that night. I didn't feel like driving all the way home.
Yeah. There's we played a show there with a couple bands. That was a lot of fun. Like definitely play VFW halls. There's some places in Portland that you can play, but most of them have all shut down. So it's just like up here, like we just find what we can and make it happen. That's just what we have to do. But
yeah, it
it's
doesn't
all good.
hurt to
It's all
like
good.
take risk to doing that.
Yeah.
Might as well. It's almost like, well, I don't know what's happening here. Might as well start my own scene.
Yep. Exactly.
Somehow.
Try your best. Well, that's all the SVU guys, the Gum Scab guys and stuff in Mancala. They're doing the Biddeford thing right now. So they've got Mulligans in Biddeford that they're
I'm
playing
playing Mulligans in March, and I'm hyped.
Yep.
I can't reveal more on that, but
yeah. They have a lot going on right now there, and they had Sacred Profane too, which is the other place they were booking shows at. I don't think they're using that venue anymore. I'm not 100%.
I know. I've been like, oh, is there like a dramatic switch or?
Yeah,
I mean, either way, I think
happened.
Before I knew about Gumscab, I never saw a show happen in Biddeford or heard about. And I'm like, oh, this is only 20, 25 minutes from Portland.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happens. Like
any one of those SVU shows goes crazy. It's insane. Whenever they book something, they're very strategic on who they book, and they're very strategic on when they book, and there's always a pull. So they just do a phenomenal job with doing that, especially in Biddeford. It's crazy that they're doing it in Biddeford. Like the pull they get in Biddeford, it's like better than most Portland shows. Like it's just, like smaller shows, you know what I mean? Like, but it's really cool. I'm sure when you get to go up and play Mulligans, it'll be packed. It'll be crazy.
I might be playing Mulligans back-to-back weekends.
Crazy.
Now that I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. either way, I'm hyped. Their weekends. Sick. Those people really put up for their scene, and they're very supportive. No freaking bullshit, facade or whatever. It's all unconditional love and support. Yeah. And they're some of the sweetest guys, I'm sure we've all ever met.
Yeah, and for sure. They're great. They're
like the big reason why I want to play Maine sort of often. And I mean, their part of Maine is not wicked far up either.
No, it's not bad.
I attended the wedding up there a couple months ago, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Well, Saco, Maine, but that's right next to it.
Yeah, super close. Super close. But yeah, that's super cool. I'll have to make sure I pay attention to when you're coming up, and I'll come out. Definitely, I'll probably take some photos actually too, because I haven't taken photos of a show in a long time. So
2 photographers.
Yep.
Back to back.
Yep.
I love it.
It's been a while. I need to do that. I'm good. I know I'm already rusty, but we'll make that happen.
Get back into it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is all the questions we have for this podcast, episode 13. Camden, really appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a blast to talk and chat. Definitely a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be seeing from a lot of your bands. Hopefully we'll be able to connect and play a show soon. And if not, I'll definitely be trying to attend some of the ones you're having up in Maine. So yeah, really, really appreciate you coming on. It's been a super fun podcast. I know, it's great to be on episode 13 and moving forward. So really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Hell yeah. Like I said, I'm appreciated for being on. I've somehow never been on a podcast, so maybe that's why I spoke a lot.
Yeah.
Word mouth a little bit. But I mean, this was fun.
It's just having conversations about the things we love, and that's why I love this podcast.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
You get to talk a lot of stuff out, learn a lot of new stuff, and just kind of like, even if we always have a couple of things that come up that are in previous podcasts and we talk about, but it's cool to just share with the new guests we have on and talk about stuff. So whenever we're on here, we have a blast. So whether it's a shorter one or a longer one doesn't matter to us. Like we have a blast and just appreciate the time that people take to come on and want to talk with us. So it's awesome.
Again, thank you very much. And I mean, we'll try to catch up in person whenever I see you two next. So
for sure.
Absolutely.
We will. Cool. Well, thanks again, man. And that's the end of episode 13. Appreciate everyone coming on and listening and or watching. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week for episode 14. So thanks again.
Woo.
We'll see everybody later. And restoration